Hello, everybody. I hope you're doing really, really well today. Every single week, I come on and do some type of tool, tip, training, inspiration, somewhere in the realm of intuition and life coaching and energy work. And because that's my passion, and I want to serve you in that way. This is for you personally, or it's for you to use in your own coaching business if it has value to you. Today is all about how to stop feeling other people's feelings to stay healthy. So many years ago, I got this in my own meditation and in my own connection with my guides. I got a couple things, but one of the things I got was healthy, wealthy healer. I got it over and over again. We want to be healthy, wealthy healers. And I mean it in all ways of abundance. Abundant, healthy, wealthy physical health, mental health, optimal emotional health, optimal financial health, optimal relational health. What else is there? Those are the biggies. And we want to have optimal health for ourselves in all the areas of our life that are important. I'm really passionate about that. And what came out of my own desire to create health and wealth for myself in all areas of my life, I ended up teaching people that. So if you're interested in that too, that's awesome. One of the things I learned that I think is so important for us empaths and sensitives, people who feel people's feelings, is to learn how to stop feeling people's feelings. And I know many of you are going to say to me, but Michelle, that's what makes me an empath. That's what makes me unique. That is a gift. And that's true. But if it is hurting the quality of your life, then it's too much. Then it's out of balance. Do you agree with that? Can you type yes or no in the chat? Being an empath is awesome, but if it's affecting the quality of your life, it's out of balance. Yeah, yes or no to that? Yeah, Barb. Awesome. Definitely. Good. So if you think that you're out of balance with this, then you've got work to do on it. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean it in a way like this is good news. Like we always have us to work on. And if we can work on us, we don't need anyone else to get in balance with this. So I'm going to say it again for us to really hear this. We love and value our empathic abilities. But if you find that if it's hurting the quality of your life, then it's out of balance, and it's up to you and me to work on that, to get back into balance. I was sick for so long due to my empathic abilities, and I had no idea that was the problem. Okay? Somebody just said I put up energy fields to protect me from lower, dense emotions of others. Great. That is a tactic. That is a tool. And use that tool if it helps you. But I want you to think even more about this. Use the energy shield tools. I think that's effective. But think about how much energy it's required of you to shield. And is that a long-term solution? I'm just asking the question because I did that for a long time, and it took a lot of energy to keep the shield up. And it also kept it shielded me from the good stuff too. So I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not saying it's not a good skill. It's not a good tool, but I don't know if it's a long-term tool. Does that make sense, everybody? So I just want to share some thoughts with you about this. Okay, our first objective is for us to become, well, mine is healthy, wealthy healer. If you like that, join me. We can also call it optimal health, or you can call it, I want to be balanced. Whatever you want, I want you to claim that desire. I want to be balanced. I want to be a healthy, wealthy empath. whatever you want to call yourself. That's what we're going for here. I'm going to give you a few tools that work in the long term. And the more you practice these tools, the stronger you'll get with them and the healthier, I believe, you'll more balanced you'll create in your life. Okay, one of them is this idea. I don't know how people are going to take this, but I found this to be true for me and many other people, but I bet it's controversial. When we feel other people's feelings and it creates an imbalance in us, I learned that when that happened to me, I wasn't actually taking on someone else's feelings. They were actually lighting something inside of me that I was unaware of. Did you hear that? It wasn't that I was taking theirs on. It was that they were triggering my own. But consciously, I just walked around believing I was taking on everyone's stuff. But the truth was, when I started to switch my mindset and say, what if they're just showing me a place inside of me that needs healing? When I took that attitude, and every time I felt someone's stuff, I took it as something inside of me that I needed to look at and process and heal. Healing came to me a lot faster. I got better quicker with this mindset. Okay, that's idea number one. Does that make sense to you? Yes or no? This is a big one. Can you imagine? So let's take two empaths. I'll just take me as an empath years ago and me as the empath now. When I was walking around in the world thinking I'm taking on everyone's stuff, I'm taking on everyone's stuff, that there's I don't want to say victim mindset, but lack of power. Like I didn't have the power belonged to everybody else. Now, my empowering way to think is if I'm triggered, no matter what, that's mine to deal with. It's either my own stuff that I need to look at and heal, or I have to heal the pattern of trying to carry everybody else's stuff. Those two belong to me. I want us to take the empowering mindset because that's where the healing will happen. It doesn't happen when we give our power to others. We have to hope that others will change. And that's not a good idea. We want to hold the power. And I don't mean that in a weird way. I mean it in a way that we hold the ability to heal ourselves. No one else does. Somebody said it beautifully. Triggers are opportunities for self-growth. I truly believe that. And when we start to see the people who bring on the triggers as our greatest healers, that is a very empowering way to live. Sonia said this is an interesting thought. I really encourage you, Sonia, and anybody else who's thinking this for the first time, to just this week walk around every day saying, anything that triggers me is something for me to heal within myself. You don't even have to do it out loud. This can just be an inside experiment. You will be fascinated by how much control and power you have. It's a very exciting way to live. And sometimes the bratty me will come out and say, no, it really was him. This is all him. This is all him. But it's okay. Just notice that part of you that is that wants to be that way. And that's okay. Okay, this is mindset, new thought shift number one. I want us all to try this week. Everything we feel belongs to us. Someone else either just triggered our own, or we're running the bad habit of trying to take on other people's hurts. Both of those belong to us. Okay, that's new thought number one. So that's the most important one I want you to try this week. It's so empowering. And you're going to notice yourself like going through different stages of like denial about this, There's no way this is mine. Just go through all of that. No, just watch yourself and don't decide. Give yourself like 7 to 10 days and even journal if you're willing. Everything you feel belongs to you. And just try that. Okay? And again, I'm going to say it one more time. Either someone or the collective, something is triggering your own stuff that you're ready to heal, or you are running the pattern of trying to take on the collective or other people's stuff, and that belongs to you too, the pattern of wanting to take it on. Okay? Those both belong to you, and you can process and heal both of those. Okay, that's the biggest thought of the day. This is a simpler thought for you to think, but it's very effective in the moment to practice. When you feel something and you can't tell if it's yours or someone else's, step one is to notice it. Just say, oh, now I'm feeling this. That's interesting. And just ask yourself in your own mind, does this belong to me or someone else? Or I call it the collective, just the energy in the world or the country or the city or the neighborhood, like that collective vibe. I think we're really good at feeling that too and being influenced by it. So ask yourself, wait, is this me? Does this belong to me? Or does this belong to someone else? Asking yourself that question and playing around with it. And if you feel it's not yours, I want you to practice lovingly releasing it back to the collective or the person, or if you don't know where it goes, just lovingly release it and trust that it goes back. The really interesting thing, if you practice this, is I used to think, like, let's say anxiety is one that I can take on real quick. Why? Because it's mine. It's mostly a trigger within me. So I can feel anxiety. And if I say to myself, wait, is this mine or someone else's? Did I get triggered? Am I just feeling someone else's? And I'm so good at resonating with this. What is this? And if I can feel that it doesn't belong to me and I lovingly release it, it doesn't feel like it goes back out into the world as anxiety. It feels like it goes back out like a butterfly. It's so weird. I just perceived it as that as it came into me. But as I release it, it changes. And I think that's an interesting point to think, because us as empaths would really struggle with sending anxiety or fear or something back out into the world, because our intention is to serve and help and heal the world. We wouldn't do things like that. So I want you to know when you're releasing it, it goes back out as pure energy. It's just the way it came into us. Okay? Okay, so I'm going to stop with that. I'm going to answer some questions I see coming in. Okay, Sonia, if I am taking on another's stuff, do they not need help? That's such a good question. And it just speaks volumes of who you are and what you're doing in the world, or what you're going to be doing in the world. It just screams healer to me. So let's talk about it. If I'm taking on another's stuff, do they not need help? So here's what unconsciously, they may need help. But in my world, unless someone consciously comes to me and says, I want your help, I do not help them. Okay? We want people to show up in our lives and ask for help. We want them to own their own stuff. Now, let's say it's a family member. Let's say it's one of my kids and I can feel her stuff. I might say to her, hey, I'm noticing or I'm feeling this. Do you need any help? I might ask my loved ones that. Because I'm close to them. But if I see someone at the grocery store, I'm not going to ask them that question. If I see someone at the bank, I'm not going to ask them that question. If I see someone at a party, I probably am not going to ask them that question, because I want to set really healthy boundaries for myself. If it's a close friend of mine at a party and I'm really feeling it and I'm convinced it's hers, I may pull her to the side and, just like you would any good friend, and say, are you all right? I'm getting this feeling. If you need anything, you know to call me, right? Are you okay? And I got to just make sure she even wants to have that conversation. It's even appropriate right there at the party. You can kind of feel when it's just not appropriate or not. So, Sonia, I hope that's helpful. Let's create real clear boundaries on when we're helping and when we're not. And let's speak to people like, hey, I'm feeling this. Are you okay? But just like readings, like this happened in mediumship and even just psychic readings. When you first start opening up to those abilities, it really floods in. And I could be at the grocery store and I could pick up on someone's loved one in spirit. And I used to think it was my obligation to give a message. Now I know it's inappropriate. I have boundaries. I would never give a reading at the grocery store. It's not healthy for us. Okay. Sonia, is that helpful the way I said that? I hope. This practice gets easier and easier the more you do it. Yes. So Sonia, boundaries with taking on other people's stuff and boundaries around when you're going to offer to help or waiting for them to come to you. I hope that was helpful. Okay, last piece I want to share with you today. One of the things that's really helped me to stop feeling other people's feelings and keeping myself healthy is knowing my own frequency. And this comes through spending time by myself, letting go of the day's activities and just sitting quietly and feeling myself, just being inside of myself without all the influences of everything else. So everything else is like static, and we release the static for a little bit every day and we sit quietly. This is also known as meditation, right? Which I think a lot of times people are, I think have a lot of resistance around meditation, but I just want to call it like sitting quietly and releasing the static and the strings of your life for just 10, 15, 20 minutes, an hour, whatever you can do, and just get back to yourself and ask yourself, I want to feel my home frequency. I want to feel my personal vibration. I want to remember who I am and how I feel without all the influences. Keep coming back to that, and you'll become stronger and stronger in being conscious of that frequency. And if you build that muscle, when you go back out into the world, it becomes very obvious when you're when your frequency has been influenced. Does that make sense? Yes or no? Type it in the chat. I gave you a lot. Maybe that was too much. Okay, I'm going to go over the 3 things I talked about, and maybe I'll talk about these again next week, and we'll just check in and say, hey, how did you do this? How did you do last week? How did you do with these ideas? Okay, I'm going to go through them one more time, and then I want you to practice them this week, and then next Tuesday we'll come back and check in. Okay, the first one, the idea of if you're feeling someone's feelings, I want you to try to think, are they just triggering my own, and do I need to process this? This is mine to deal with. Or I'm running the bad habit of trying to take on other people's stuff. That's one idea I want you to try this week. Number 2, just ask yourself in the moment, if you feel something, just say, wait, is this mine or someone else's? If it's someone else's, I want you to lovingly release it, and I want you to see it going back out into the world as neutral energy, not as whatever you were feeling. Just send it back out as neutral energy and let it transform and do whatever it needs to do in the world. Great. And you let that go. Okay? And you come back to yourself. Next thing I want you to try this week is spending 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes every day, closing your eyes, releasing the strings, the static, the thoughts, everything. Just let it go, and then come back and just say, I'm feeling my home frequency. Oh, this is what I feel like. Oh, this is what I am without all the influences. Oh, just keep coming back, and maybe even just saying that over and over. Thank you for allowing me to feel me without the influences. Oh, this is who I am. Oh, thank you. Just keep saying, I just think that's super helpful. And then, so those are the 3 things. Is this helpful? I'm loving release those things that do not serve me. Yes, Barb will do that next week. Okay, good. Good. I'm glad this helps a bunch. Okay, are there any other questions? Okay, this is your work this week, right? Practice one of these or all three of them. I'm going to come back next week and just say, how did you do? I'm going to review these. And this is a muscle that we can build. This is our path to being healthy. I even think it's our path to being wealthy. And it can be financial, but it can just be in your relationships and your life, the quality of your life, full health, full wealth, full abundance. This is the way for us to do it as empaths and sensitives. Okay, hope this is helpful. I will see you next week, same place, same time. Thanks, everybody. Bye.